Hi, and welcome to part 5 of the Freddy Dynomite Cafe Racer build. In this episode, I'm going to show you that instead of just going to any website and buying a Shorty Muffler that you like for $100, you too can instead spend a whole month taking a Ducati muffler, chopping it all up, making your own baffles, packing it yourself, doing welding, really having a lot of fun, and ending up with your own Shorty Muffler. Was it worth it? Would it have been easier to buy it? Yeah, it would have been easier to buy it. But I have some special ideas for this muffler and the final look of the bike. So I wanted it just like this. So I'm going to show you what I did to build it. It's going to be a long video because it took me a long time to do this. Anyway, cue the intro. But once I got the tank mounted and the seat frame on, I put the engine in temporarily just to see if everything still fit, and it does, so that's good. And that got me playing with the exhaust manifold also. Then I started wondering what I'm going to do about the exhaust. I was out talking to a guy who was a local bike racer and built some race bikes, and he was kind enough to donate this to the Cafe Racer build. It's the stock exhaust off the Ducati 1000, and I thought I might be able to make this work. But when I went to do a test fit, I realized the pipe's going to be way too long. It's 20 inches long at the can here. And this part's too long. But as I put more thought into it, I realized I could modify this one to make it fit, because I like the shape in general. The other issue I had was the pipe itself was miniature on the inside. It's only about an inch wide. Given on the Ducati there's two of these pipes, so I guess that would make more sense. But I like to get this quite a bit larger for my bike. So I decided to tear into it and see what we're dealing with. Looked pretty easy to take apart. There's 3 rivets here that hold on the backing plate. And I wasn't sure how the rest came apart, but let's start from there. Given I already drilled them out because, I wanted to see if it was even worth trying at first, but let's just pretend for now. I'm going to drill them out. There you go, they came out no problem. From there, I was able to get the end pipe off. And then the whole sleeve comes off. And this nice aluminum tube. And this big honking mess. So now, still experimenting, I'm going to try to cut this off and see what's inside. I'm going to try to do this as gently as possible because I really don't know how the thing comes apart. I'm going to start by cutting off this tip here. There's a weld around the side here. And we'll see where we go from there. Alright, now let's try to cut this weld around the edge here, see if we can get this end cap off. Oh, that's hot. Well, if you ever wondered what the inside of a Ducati muffler looks like, this is what we've got so far. Now this first chamber seems to have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 exterior pipes and the main middle one. But this first chamber only goes in 5 inches of the 20. There's a plate at the back there. So I see there's some welding points on the outside of this tube. I'm wondering if I grind those out, if I can get this part out. After grinding those out, it still didn't come out. It was pretty stuck in there. So I ground all the way around. I'm not going to be using this pipe anyway. I'm just trying to take it apart as neatly as possible. So I ground around all there. And now, we've got this, which looks really cool. Though I have no idea how it works. Well, let's keep cutting. We'll get the second layer off, see what it shows us. And another layer. Oh well, I'm not going to be able to separate all this stuff, so I'm just going to go for the big cut right at the end here and just save the ends. All this is what's left of the inside of the muffler. The passageways, this baffle that was in the pipe, some stuffing, steel wool, all kinds of tubes where the air would pass through. So we're going to do this. There. So what we have left is the inlet pipe, the aluminum casing, the end cap, and the final exterior end cap. What we need to do is create a baffle to go inside here, wrap it with some either steel wool or insulation, and make a cover for this end. I needed to get some 1 3/4 stainless steel exhaust pipe, but I'm in a small town, I couldn't find any around here. So I ended up going down to the metal scrapyard and I found this stuff. Parts of some old restaurant equipment, I believe, but anyway, stainless steel, 1 3/4. Little mangled, but I should be able to make the baffle with this. And this part I can expand to make collars to hold the baffle in. I also went down to the local metal shop and got a sheet of stainless steel. That's what I'm going to use to make the plate. Because as you can see, the inlet pipe comes in non-centered. So to get the baffle in here centered, I want to make a slightly cone-shaped area to divert the exhaust gases down the cone shape and into the baffle. So the first step, like I mentioned, this inlet pipe comes in off to the side and I want to center it in here. So I need to put some kind of plate over here and maybe cone it up to join with the baffle that we're going to put on. This is the part that was on the other end, the top end of the pipe, where the back of the housing was riveted on. I'm noticing that fits almost perfectly right in here. So if I can dent this out a bit, and then we can put what will be our baffle on it to direct the flow through it. I think that's going to work pretty good. And we'll weld this up afterwards and weld a sleeve on here so that the baffle fits in. I found this old turbo exhaust manifold connector. Cut the bottom off. I'm going to put it in here and put it in my press and try to press that down some more. See if it works. Well, that should do the trick. Got a nice funnel shape here. Again, the idea is that the exhaust coming in from the engine, instead of bouncing against a hard surface, will be funneled through here into where the baffle will go. Now I want the pipe to be 12 inches long, so I'm going to cut this to length to get my 12 inches of the aluminum casing. Then I'm going to drill a bunch of holes in this. I've got my baffle mounted into the drill press. I've drawn some lines to keep myself straight. Loaded up a 1/8 inch drill bit, and I'm just going to start poking holes. Let's go. Hole number 1. plug it in first. Hole number 1, part 2. Hole number 2. Well, that's one row. Try and drill a straight line, that was a mistake, that's not going to happen. Anyway, just going to keep going all the way around until I get this whole thing all perforated. There we go, finally done. It only took 2 to 3 hours. It was well worth saving the $13 I could have bought one off Amazon for. Anyway, I made this one special. We've got different size holes for the different reverberations of the acoustic treatment. Actually no, I just ran out of the same size drill bit because I went through so many. Burning them up on this. But anyway, it's the way I like it. We made it, ridiculous, but why not? Alright, so where are we on this ridiculously long project? Got all our parts, I think. This is the part we made last. That's going to fit right in here. Keeping everything nice and straight. Then we've got our baffle that's got to slide into here when we put it in. So I had this another piece of the same pipe. Brought down to the muffler shop to get expanded a little bit so that the baffle will fit into there. I'm going to grind it down and make it a nice tight fit. So we're going to cut a piece of this off and weld it onto there for the baffle to sit in when we put it together. Now that we've got the collar made, I'm just going to tack weld the collar onto the base plate. I'm just going to use my regular MIG for right now for tacking. I'm either going to get this TIG welded after, I might even try some stainless steel wire in the MIG welder. So we've got it all centered, let's give it a little shot. So this is all starting to come together now. We've got our inlet for the muffler. We've got this flange that we modified, denting it inward to divert the exhaust gases into here. Through this flange. And now we have the baffle that'll fit right in like that. And we're straight through. What's next on the list is to make another holder at this end, which will be welded onto the baffle, and a plate for the end of the muffler to screw onto. So we've got to make a plate to go in here that'll bolt up where these 3 holes are. That plate will have this flange welded on it, and then we'll put that in and weld the baffle to that, so it's all one piece. Alright, now we've got our bracket, or whatever you want to call it, mounting flange. Got our sleeve, which will get welded onto here. The baffle gets welded onto the sleeve, gets welded onto the bracket thingy, and then that whole thing will get put into here. That way we'll be able to drill some holes here to put rivets in here and hold this whole part together, and it'll be one assembly. Now that we got the guts together, we got to work on the outside. This is the original Ducati housing for the aluminum tube that covers everything. I'm going to cut this down to 12 inches so we can fit it over our modified muffler. Okay, so I think this is finally going to start making sense to everybody. Inlet, right? The baffle ends up being in here. This is our cut down tube, which will be on here. Like that. We'll have some rivets around here to hold this onto here. Then the baffle, which in the end will be screwed onto the outlet pipe. I'm just putting it like this because it's a little easier right now to put it in so I can see it. We'll get wrapped with stuff, insulation. Fits into that catcher on that side. And there we go, our shortened muffler. Now just do a bunch of welding and finishing, but we're getting there, and it looks like something. There we go. Well, that came out like really ugly. But oh well, it's inside the muffler, who's going to tell, right? I did try to do a bit of grinding, but really it doesn't matter. So, next step, input flange, baffle holder. Fits together just right. And we'll weld this around here to make this one solid piece. Okay, making some progress. We got the input part all done. Everything's all welded around. Our flange for the baffle to fit into. Our aluminum sleeve still fits over. So now we've got to weld up the base of our baffle. Just a reminder. We'll go like that. Haha. Next step is riveting the baffle onto the output flange. So I'm going to take that, I'm going to mark it with a marker here, where it's both centered. Just marking with a marker where the holes of the existing cap already were. Now that's drilled out, we just got to rivet this to here. I'm going to put some high heat Permatex on there just to make a gasket, so in case these start to loosen after a while, that doesn't make a rattle. Good idea, don't you think? Now I'll just put the baffle on. And we'll pop in some rivets. There we go. Now from the original Ducati muffler, I saved this super high performance stainless steel wool. It's special Ducati material, so I thought I'd use it again. Actually, I don't know, it's just steel wool. But I thought I'd keep it on there anyway I had it. So, just gonna wrap that around the baffle nice and tight. I figure the steel wool will help any of the insulation from not flying through the little holes. I'm just guessing most of this stuff, you know that, right? Doesn't get much more exciting than this. Oh, pretty. And make sure this stuff holds together. I got this piece of the stainless steel welding wire, some leftover stuff. I'm just going to wrap it around there to keep it tight and make sure it doesn't go anywhere. Well, we're finally down to the last piece of fabrication. The mount for the exhaust onto the bike. On the Ducati muffler, the pipe was mounted in these two areas with these little stainless steel inserts that were into the pipe. I took them out hoping I could use them again, but stainless steel and aluminum don't go well together. So, what I decided we're going to do, I'm going to make a bracket here that will fit inside the pipe. I'm going to weld these two stainless steel screws to it and then rivet that bracket through here so it doesn't move. That way, when you go to mount it on the bike, you just take your bolt and bolt it on. So we're going to make the bracket out of this stainless steel here, to the right size, weld, weld, cut, 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 and good. Now we've got my little bracket cut out and drilled. I put a slight curve into it so it's smooth on the inside of the bore. Now what I have to do is I'm going to put these nuts on the back, tack weld them into place, and then weld them up. So well, for some reason last night all the recording I did came through without audio. So I'm just going to go through what I did do. You won't be able to see the detailed workings of it, but oh well. Anyway, here's my finished bracket for the muffler. You can see I've rounded off the nuts so that the insulation won't get caught on it. And I've also drilled 2 holes in there and in the tube itself. That's where, when I mount it, I'll put rivets in to hold this inside so it doesn't just fall out every time. Now I'm not going to do a full final assembly on this muffler because I got to get the bike set up first so I know the angle that the inlet's going to go on, which will determine the angle that my tube will have to go on for the mounting holes. But for video's sake, I'm going to simulate the final assembly. So what I'm going to use for the insulation around the baffle is this rock wool stuff. I had this stuff left over from a project in the house, and rock wool is basically a soundproofing insulation. It's not as stringy as the pink insulation a lot of people use. It's fireproof and it's made to absorb sound, so I figured why not. I took a piece and I cut it down to about 1 inch thick, and then I wrapped it around my baffle. I made it about 1/2 inch bigger than the tube itself. Then I wrapped it up with some stainless steel wire to keep it nice and tight. I'm sure this is going to do a great job to muffle the sound and give me a nice deep tone. The other reason I don't want to do the final assembly right now is I want to take this aluminum canister for it and I want to polish it up, and I've got some ideas that are special for the Freddy Dynomite Cafe Racer build. A little personalization. But I'm going to wait till the very end to do that. maybe in another episode. Let's simulate putting this muffler together in the end. So we've got our inlet and we've got our tube. That's going to go on there. Then I'm going to drill 4 holes between the tube and the flange. Again, for simulation purposes. Alright? And then I'm going to pop rivet that in. So this will now be one solid piece, and it won't come apart like that. So once that's in there, and of course lined up the way I want it to be, then we'll take our baffle with our insulation, and we'll insert it in here. Make sure everything's nice and tight. Tap the hammer. And then I'll drill 4 more holes around the edge here. Zoop, 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 zoop. And finish it off with 4 more rivets. Pop, 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 pop. And there you go. Your own customized, used to be a huge Ducati muffler, now a 12-inch Shorty baffled stainless steel and aluminum muffler for your build. Well, that's it for this ridiculously long episode. Was it worth building my own muffler? No. You're much better off just going and buying one. They're a lot cheaper on Amazon or something. But when you want something in a special way, and especially with the idea that I've got in my mind for what I want to do with this, and plus, I just like fabricating stuff. So if you're looking just to have some fun in doing it, go ahead. If you're looking for a way to save money or time, don't bother. But let's do a final test and see what the results are. Vroom, vroom, vroom. That sounds amazing. Well, that's it for episode 5 of the Freddy Dynomite Cafe Racer build. I hope you guys enjoyed it and maybe you learned something along the way. Either way, please hit the subscribe button down below, and then the like button, and then the little ringer button so you know when the next video comes out. Ignore the don't like button. That doesn't work anyway. Again, thanks for joining me today, and we'll see you on the next episode of the Freddy Dynomite Cafe Racer build.